What's up, everybody? Welcome back to High Caliber Haymaker. If this is your first time here, thank you for checking out my content. A little bit different video today. Is a shotgun a realistic home defense option? A lot of mixed opinions. I'll give you some pros and cons, so let's get into it. Shotguns have been around as early as the 16th century. And over time, just like everything else you see, either it be a pistol, rifle, shotguns are constantly adapting as well, becoming more functional, better quality, and there are numerous brands. So I've got three out here today. I've got a more traditional style, modern, and tactical. And we're going to go through each one of them, shooting different types of ammunition as well to see what kind of damage it does, and is it realistic for home defense. I mean, trying to wield a break action 26-inch barrel shotgun down a hallway is not going to be as easy as something like a tactical shotgun or maybe a modern shotgun. So we're going to go over like floor layouts of your home and things like that to see if it works for you. And if not, I also have an alternative out here with me today. That'll be here later in the video. So, first up, we have a Berika Arms. This is a Turkish style shotgun. It is a break action and it holds 2 shells. Now, I would not necessarily suggest this for home defense. Now, if this is what you like, by all means, but at the same time, you're limiting yourself on the amount of ammunition you have. And also you're limiting your ability to maneuver through your home. Secondly, we have an American Tactical 12 gauge. All of these are 12 gauge, actually. So this one, a little more modern. Have a nice buttstock shell holder here. This allows you to have a little bit more, but we'll get into more details as we go further. And we also have a Remington 870, which is pretty much as small as you really want to go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move over to the targets. And the first type of ammunition we're going to be shooting today is Kent birdshot. Now you're thinking, Lance, why would I want to shoot birdshot in my house? Well, if you're a hunter or a skeet shooter, most likely you would use a type of birdshot in this type of shotgun. So if this is the option you choose, that's why I brought the ammunition out here today. So, like I said, this is going to be a more specific if you have a super open floor plan and this is really just the route you want to take. So we'll load this up here in a second and then we'll head over to the target and we'll shoot from what they say is the average self-defense distance, which is between 7 to 10 yards. So give me just a second, we'll load this one up and we'll take it over there and take a shot or two. All right, so we've got our over-under loaded up. We're about 7 to 10 yards from the target here. We're actually gonna shoot both barrels. Both of them are cylinder chokes right now, which means there's basically no resistance. It's just there to really protect the threads. This is typically what you'll see in most shotguns that do use a choke. I'm sure we'll get into a more in-depth video at some point on the channel explaining, chokes and how they operate and how they work. But for today, we have, like I said in here, we have 2 cylinder chokes, and in the modern shotgun, we have an improved cylinder, which is just slightly a little bit smaller, but shouldn't make a huge difference out here today. But you will see some differences for other reasons. So this barrel is the longest one that we're going to be shooting today. So what that does is it gives it more time for the pellets to travel down and then open up later on in the shot. So we're going to go ahead and do our 2 shots. I've also put some of my changing targets in there, so we'll be able to see the hits on the target. But once I take the 2 shots, we're going to clear the firearm and then we'll walk over there and check out the damage from the 2 shots. All right, well, I guess we're going to have to move over to another target because I was not expecting it to fly off like that. So I'm going to take a step over here and shoot at this second one. All right, give me 1 second. I'll go grab those targets. We're going to clear our shotgun here. Good to go. Give me 1 second. I'll go grab those. All right, so I changed my mind about halfway through taking these back down. Instead of having paper flop around all over the place, I decided to staple them back up. So clearly a solid hit on both targets. And like you'll see with these birdshot, like it's spread quite a bit. So it's more forgiving if your shot is, impulsive, realistically. If you're in a home defense situation where your life or someone else's life is threatened, you want to make sure that shot counts. So, like I said, with that being a 2-shell shotgun, you do limit yourself. But one benefit is that you can literally pull the trigger, that fires your first shot, and then you can pull the trigger and it fires your second shot. As opposed to a pump shotgun, every shot you take, you have to pump the action. So, 2 very solid hits, probably fatal. So, with that being said, we're going to move on to the American Tactical 12 gauge pump action, and we will hit probably this target one more time just to try to salvage it just a little bit. So I'll go grab that and load it up, and we'll keep going. So before we take our shot here, I just want to kind of go over, basically how this shotgun works if you're not familiar. So when you pump a shotgun in a home defense situation, one of 2 things is going to happen. When they hear the sound of the action, they're either going to go running or they're going to stand their ground, and then you're going to have to make a decision. So I'm going to illustrate that now. If you hear that in a house, probably a good idea to get away. So the difference between this one and the traditional over-under shotgun is you probably have to leave that loaded, because think about it. Are you going to have time to grab that, break it open, put in your shells, close it, and get to whatever threat may be in your house in a reasonable time? Now a shotgun you can store, because it has a tube on the bottom, you can store your shells inside and not have to have it fully loaded, and then just go through the pump action and you're ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to go ahead and scoot over here, get in front of the target, and take our shot. So I actually aimed a little bit up and to the right just so we wouldn't hit in the same spot. So let's go take a look at that. And we want to make sure we are clear. So a little different hit. So like I said, I shot up here just so we wouldn't get this confused. And you see this large hole here, that is actually part of the shell. So when this hits, it's probably not gonna do as much damage as it will to a piece of paper to a human being. But this shot, nice and tight. The impact zone, very good. Probably a fatal shot as well. But also, if you miss, your first and second shot, hopefully you don't have to take that many, if any at all. But you have the option to go again and again and again, depending on how many shells your shotgun will be able to hold. So all the shotguns we have out here can take up to 3-inch shells. All of the shells that we're using today are 2 3/4. They're just different brands. So moving on, we're going to go get the Remington 870, which is the more tactical, maneuverable type of shotgun in my opinion. And we're going to take our shot on this last target here. So I'm going to go load that up and bring it over. All right, so this is our Remington 870. We're going to load up our 1 shell for our shot here. So the way that I store it is basically how you see it right now. So I'm going to load my shells in. I actually can't rack the action right now because I haven't depressed this tab here. So safety's on. So if by chance, these are all locked away in a safe, but if by chance the wrong person were to come by and get a hold of this thing, or someone who's unfamiliar with firearms, they're not going to be able to do anything with it because they won't know how to operate it. So this is how I store it in my gun safe, just like this. So if I ever had to use this in a home defense situation, which by my opinion, this is what I would be using, not the other two. Depress, load your shell, take your safety off, and you're ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and take our shot here at this last one. I'm actually going to move the camera because you have to hold this one a little different. It's not as traditional as a normal shotgun where it's, in your shoulder because it's a handle. So a little different firing situation there too. So I'm going to move the camera more towards probably me, and then I'll take you over to see the type of damage. So you have two options. You can still hold the shotgun out if you'd like, or you can even hip fire it. If you're maneuvering through your house, going through doors, down hallways, you can keep it close to you. That's another advantage of having a tactical style shotgun. If you're sticking it out and it's between a doorway and someone's hiding around the corner, they can easily grab it, pull it from you, and then you're in a totally different situation that you don't want to be in. So we're going to go ahead and take our safety off. I'm going to hold it out, as that is how I would typically shoot it, and then we'll go take a look at the damage here in 1 second. We are clear. Let's go over and take a look at that. And there it is. Still a very fatal shot. All of our pellets hit within the target itself. And as you can see, the wad from the shell went straight through the paper. Again, that's not going to really be like a fatal hit to whatever target you're having to defend yourself against, but still a very effective shot. But my thing is too, is like, if you're a little bit off, if you're shooting up here, because you're in a panic, it's hard to, control your breath, control your shot when your heart's racing and your adrenaline's pumping. If you shoot up here to the left, half of those pellets are going to go past that person into your house, into potentially another person. It could be an animal in your home. The scenarios are endless. We could be out here all day doing that. So that's why I brought some different types of ammunition, but I just wanted to kind of show you the standard bird shot that you can typically find on the shelf. So now we're going to go back to the traditional shotgun and we're going to shoot buckshot, and I'll get into that a little bit more when we get back over there to the table. Okay, so let's dive into the ammo a little bit deeper, as the last two we're going to be shooting are very similar, but also very different. So the first one we shot was the bird shot. I'm actually going to bring this up here so you can kind of get a visual of what's coming out of this thing. So as you can see, it's full of pellets. There's a wad back here, then your gunpowder and your primer, of course. And that's all of this is the projectile coming out of the shotgun. But like I said, it leaves more room for error because it spreads further, as opposed to these two types of buckshot, one of them being critical defense we're going to be shooting. But at the same time, is that a pro or is it a con? As it being forgiving, you could potentially do damage to something other than the target you are trying to defend yourself from. Now buckshot, I'll bring this up, it's double-aught buck. So as you can see, they are much larger pellets, not as many, but also not as forgiving as a bird shot would be. So we're going to go ahead and load one into each shotgun. And I'm actually going to just shoot at one target because I'll be able to hit in 3 different areas, and you'll be able to tell through each shot which one is which. But you'll also be able to see why I can do that with the double-aught buck as opposed to bird shot. So first one we're going to do is the traditional over-under, and then of course the modern American Tactical, and then the actual tactical Remington 870. So let's go ahead and do that now. So how to load this. So a break action, it's exactly as it sounds. You press this lever here and it breaks open. What you'll do is you will load it into one of the 2 cylinders there. So once you do this, basically what this does as well is it cocks the mechanism inside for each trigger pull to be ready to go. So there is no like pump action where everything, you know, has to move mechanically to make it operate. So once you break the action open, you load your shell, you close it, it'll lock in place, and then you'll be able to pull the trigger. So we're gonna go move over to the target, take our shot with the buckshot, and then I'll show you the difference between this one and the one that we're gonna be using a little bit later. All right, so again, we're doing the standard 7 to 10 yards self-defense distance, and we're gonna take our shot, and I'm actually gonna aim center mass with this one because, like I said, with this one being the longest barrel, it has the most time to travel to keep that group a little bit tighter. And we are clear. So let's go check out the damage. So I put this target on top of the other one, but as you can see, like I said, not as forgiving. Aim center mass, and 2, 4, 6 out of the 9 hit in the red circle here. Also the wad you can see hit down low here, and that also went through the paper. But again, that's not really a fatal hit to whatever you're shooting. I can say that this would obviously be very effective. So again, not as forgiving, but still very effective. Again, this would be more so the hunter / skeet shooter option. You've got a large wide open floor plan where you can maneuver the shotgun. And I would say safely, you need to be more familiar with shotguns to go with this option because, like I said, you only have 2 chances. So let's go grab the American Tactical, load that up, and we'll take that shot. Okay, so our American Tactical, we are going to shoot high on the target. The Remington 870 we're shooting last is a little bit harder to control, as you can imagine, with it being a shorter shotgun, shorter barrel, and less to hold on to. The more recoil you're going to experience, a little bit harder to control. So we are going to go ahead and take our shot and then check out the damage. We are clear. All right, so 2 things to kind of notate here. First thing is you'll notice that with the traditional shotgun, the over-under, the group is a lot tighter. These are a lot more spread out, in my personal opinion. And the wad hit up here, again, not really a big deal. Still a very effective shot, and definitely would count. Now, if we had another shell, say we hit, our target keeps coming, we can simply rack, take another shot, and take another shot, and so forth if we need to. So now, let's go grab the Remington 870, load that one up, and we'll probably aim for this lower portion of the target down here, as obviously both of these sections are pretty much done. All right, let's go ahead and load up our Remington 870 here. Ready to go. So this one I'm gonna do a hip fire because you saw what the, holding it up position, up and out. So just for reference, and we're also gonna be shooting low on the target, so I think it just makes sense. So let's go ahead and do that now, and then again, we'll walk over there and check it out. Also, with there not being a lot to hold on to, you really wanna get a nice firm grip. You wanna really hold on to this thing. As you can see there, like I said, not as forgiving for one, but also not as easy to control. We're still gonna go take a look at it. So hip firing, obviously it's also more difficult to aim. So where did we hit? The top left shoulder. Well, flipping in the camera, so top right shoulder to you. 2 of those pellets missed. So this would also not be a fatal shot. It would hurt, don't get me wrong. But I would need to be ready to go one more time, definitely. So I'm gonna actually load one more up. I'm gonna do a top shot just to see if it's a realistic recoil situation. All right, we're all loaded up, so now let's take this extended shot. Much better to control. I'll tell you that right now. So we aim low on that one, and as you can see, we hit low, very effective. Let's get you on some level ground here so you can see what I'm talking about. Actually, I don't know if you can see it from there. Let's back it up then. Apologies for that. There we go. So we're all right here, wad right in the center. That would do it. So now I know your next question. Lance, why are you shooting two different types of double-aught buck? Well, one of them is a standard brand. The second one is Critical Defense by Hornady. So it's got a little more oomph to it. I think it's 1,600 feet per second. Now, in a home defense situation, I mean, a bullet's going to travel as fast as it's going to travel. I mean, the situation itself is instantaneous. So we are going to load those up, though. I'll put up one more target, and we'll just see if there's any difference, as well as, you know, with them moving faster, if they stay together better or worse. So let's go do that. All right, so I've put the targets up side by side. We're going to leave the one that we just shot. So it'll be my left, but your right as the camera, like I said before. So we are loading up the Hornady double-aught buck. And like I said, 1,600 feet per second, 2 3/4 inch shell. Critical Defense, made for home defense. So let's give this one a go. We're going to aim center mass. Let's see if we see any difference. Shot number one. I'm going to go ahead and grab the second shotgun, hit the top, third shotgun, hit the bottom. Shotgun number two, American Tactical. Aiming high. Shotgun number three, Remington 870. I've decided I'm not going to do a hip fire shot. I like to have more control. So I'm going to take that third shot low. Okay, let's go check them out. Make sure we get both targets in here for you. Okay, so with the double-aught buck, spread out, spread out, spread out, but still very effective on all three shots. Critical Defense by Hornady. Everything is literally in one spot. All of the pellets hit here. This is the wad. Even with the shortest barrel, still all of the pellets in one spot. Very effective shot. Again, not forgiving like the bird shot where it was very spread. So, safe to say that the Hornady Critical Defense would definitely be my go-to. As far as which shotgun, really, I'd probably go with the Modern American Tactical, because I've had way more consistency between those three. And like I said, the traditional over-under Berika arms, it's just too long. It's too long to try to maneuver through a house, down a hallway, whatever the situation may be. I just think it's too long. So this one, definitely fun to shoot. Definitely hard to control. I mean, it's just, and it's a lot of pressure in a very short area. But I have to say, between the three ammos, definitely the Hornady double-aught buck would be the best. And I would probably stick with the Modern American Tactical 12 gauge if I were to choose that as a home defense option. So, bonus gun, we'll get to that in just a second, but we'll go back over to the table and we'll discuss that. It's a good one. Alright, so before we get into today's bonus gun, I want to give a huge shout out to a up-and-coming apparel company, well, up-and-coming in my opinion, called Web Western. I'm wearing their hat today, as well as their t-shirt. And not sponsored or anything, but if there's a company or a product that I can get behind with, you know, their morals and everything, I'll definitely be happy to shout them out here on the channel. I encourage you to go check out their website. They've got great hats, accessories, and of course t-shirts and other apparel. But the strongest thing that I like about their company is their message. You know, it's the arrow represents, you know, always be a straight shooter. And I think a lot of that is lacking in society today. One of their slogans is no BS, no excuses, just straight hard work, or it's something right along those lines. But I'll put their website right here so you can just scroll through it real quick and see it, and I'll put a link in the description below. But I really encourage you to go down to look for behind the brand at the bottom of their website. It's a nice, powerful message, and I can get behind that. And also, I mean, their apparel, very nice, very comfortable, durable t-shirt, nice trucker hat. I mean, the prices are right on point, right on par with anything else that you would buy. So I really encourage you to check them out. So today's bonus gun, the Taurus Judge, chambered in 45 long Colt and 410 gauge shotgun shell. Now you're thinking, Lance, like, you're doing a shotgun video, why would you bring out a revolver? Well, if neither one of these three is an option for you, and like I said, there are a ton of other options of shotguns out there, but this is pretty much like your standard stuff, you can always go with the old faithful revolver. So I'm going to set up another target. I'm going to shoot one 45 long Colt round, and I've also got Hornady critical defense for this as well. So with that being the best option today on the 12 gauge shotguns, I think it's fitting for it to be shot out of the Judge here today. Pretty standard Judge. This one takes the 2.5 inch shotgun shells. They do make a Magnum version that takes the 3 inch. But I think this is all you're really going to need. So I'll get that target set up and get loaded up, and then we will take those shots, and then we'll have some closing remarks for you. All right, so we're all loaded up. I did take 2 practice shots just to see kind of like what we're dealing with here. So this was the 45 long Colt here, and this was the Hornady critical defense. I shot that from about 12 to 15 yards back, and not too bad, but let's go ahead and actually aim for the target here. I was aiming down here, and we hit pretty much where I was aiming on that one, and then a little height to my left, your right. So let's go ahead and back up to a standard self-defense situation of about 7 yards and see how it affects this target here in the center. Okay, so the 45 Colt hit fairly well in the target there, and it seems that I pulled the Hornady shell. Now again, between the two of them, you have one shell this size and one this size, so a lot more powder and a lot more power behind it. Something to keep in mind. Definitely something to keep in mind, just like with the Remington 870 being as short as it is, it's harder to control as like when we had that one shot up here. And you're probably thinking, Lance, why would you keep that in the video? Well, because I want to make you aware of what you may be using if you haven't used it yet. So, still a big fan of the Hornady rounds. Plenty of damage there. It literally hit in the same spot. I aimed low and hit here, and aimed here and hit here. So that could be on me. Probably it's looks like it's on the exhale and pulling the trigger, and the inhale and pulling the trigger. So I'm not gonna put it on the firearm or on the shell itself. It's probably on me pulling it. So before we end the video, we're gonna go over our giveaway, and I'll meet you back at the table and we'll get into it. Now, what's a YouTube video without some cool slow motion effect, right? Boom. All right, guys. Again, so hopefully today's video helped you out. Maybe helped you decide on what kind of home defense weapon or option you want to take between the 3 different shotguns. Something I forgot to cover earlier, I'll go over it now. The traditional shotgun price point for that particular model, the Berika Arms, Turkish style, around $500. American Tactical 12 gauge, the midsize modern, I've seen those as low as $175. And I've seen them all the way up to about $250 for that particular model. The Remington 870, you're getting a little bit more quality. So that one's around $400. And then if you want the Taurus Judge, back up to around $500 for that. So, again, if it's your first time here, thank you for stopping by and watching my content. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more content, for one, but number two, because the current giveaway we're doing right now, I 3D print these what look like magazines, but they are actually AR stands, and it locks into your mag well, so you can either display your firearm, gives you that second set of hands if you're working on it, but of course if you can put it up out of reach, you can definitely put it on display. So comment down below which color you like, flat dark earth, OD green, or matte black. And I also have a stainless style if you want to see that one. I didn't bring it out to the range today, but you can go back to my intro video and see what that one looks like there. So comment down below which color you like. You have to be subscribed. We're giving one away every 250 subscribers, all the way up to our first 1,000. So make sure you do that. Stay safe. Get out to the range, knock out some rounds, test out, which home defense weapon you want to go with, or just simply something to add to your arsenal. And I will see you next time.